Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Run-Up. We've got a moderately sized haul this week, so let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants number 2. Part of the year 100 portion of Sins of Sinister. Where we left off, Storm and the Brotherhood had attempted to destroy the Moira engine, but, well, it wasn't where they thought it, where they were told it was, and they were actually betrayed by Destiny and Mystique. So we open with a Star Wars style crawl. It is a time of galactic war. The Sinister Council's Red Diamond Empire is caught in a death struggle with the forces of the Interstellar Compact, led by the mysterious Orbis Stellaris, himself secretly a variant form of Sinister, enacting his own master plan. Armed with this knowledge, the underground freedom fighters, known as the Brotherhood, battle against both Sinister and Stellaris to free the peoples of the galaxy from their schemes and to avenge planet Araco, the first casualty of the Sinister Wars. During a doomed mission to the ice planet Varon, the rival insurgent cell known as Freedom Force was able to transmit the location and schematics of the Compact's latest and most terrifying weapon, a whole command post the size of a solar system, to Araco base. Their heroic sacrifice has prompted a long-forgotten player of this deadly game to make her final move. Destiny arrives at Araco base. Novar is in charge of docking control and is basically he instructs first getting the docking code from Destiny, that day's docking code, then asks for the next one, and, well, she gets it. So, she arrives, and apparently she tried to prevent Freedom Force from going, at least prevent Mystique from going with Freedom Force on their mission. Freedom Force consisted of Mystique, Hercules, Nova, Sam Alexander version, or, well, actually, well, I say the Sam it's the helmet is more reminiscent of Sam Alexander's Nova helmet, but it's not Sam Alexander. And that damn Rocky pirate whose name I can't remember. But, so she, but she explains that she knows where Orbis Stellaris' base is and that it has the Moira engine aboard it. And so, since Raven's gone, well, all that remains is killing Moira for real. So, they have a plan, though. The Brotherhood and their ship launches 3 fighters at Stellaris' base. One piloted by Cable, one by, what was her name? Ghana, who appears to be of Kree origin, and the other piloted by Ironfire. But the base sends out its fighters. We also got to write up on the Death Sphere. Cora the Burning Heart uses her amplification abilities to amplify Destiny's foresight, so to basically transmit what's going to how the attack will go to Cable, who then passes it along to the other 2 pilots. Though Ironfire is briefly visited by Mother Righteous, tries to tempt him, but he is like, yeah, I've got my own regrets, and, well, you know, he's got faith in Aurora. But, so the fighters and the rebel ship manages to make it in. Cora, once they've achieved that, Cora kills Destiny. And the plan was not to destroy the the world form, but rather throw it into a wormhole to elsewhere. Because of this, and with the Iraqi forces with the Brotherhood forces following, um, Storm sacrificed herself, and with the fact that everything of the all of Orbis Solaris's research and everything is now gone, and they can't seem to, they don't know where. Orbis Solaris turns off the life support in the Death Sphere and kills all of his subordinates. And that the issue ends though with Cora weeping over Storm's body, though Storm has died with a smile on her face. Sins of Sinister is definitely an interesting arc, and I do look forward to seeing how it all wraps up. Though I am enjoying the whole thing. This is one of those alternate universes I'd love to see fully expanded upon, not just with 10 years out, 100 years out, 1,000 years out. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Marauders number 12. Where we left off, Kate had come up with an idea concerning the Mysterium box, and that idea was to basically use it to create, send it into the past, and use it to create Threshold with the message left inside, for basically making it a temporal loop. And Fang had gone to visit Brimstone Love, taking John Dee with him. So we open with Fang and Brimstone duking it out. Apparently, John Dee's the parasite that John Dee has is rooting for Brimstone Love, though Dee himself is rooting for Fang. So with the help of Polaris, the Marauders begin working on their plan. Polaris is in fact part of the mutant circuit they're going to be utilizing. There are a few pieces left, but before they get started, Kate wants to make sure that the ghosts of Kreko are okay with it. Namely, talking with the ghost of her father. They are. We get a brief the Captain's Forum discussing Cerebra, who is in San Francisco protecting a mutant artist from the assassin Bushwhacker, himself also mutant. Psylocke and Aurora show up to help, and Bushwhacker ends up with it's explained that Bushwhacker will no longer to kill, but rather to make art. He's been going after mutant artists, so. But turns out the artist that Shaki was protecting is the ancestor of her fellow future X-Men, North Star. Fang's fight with Brimstone Love reaches a head when Fang reveals that there was a reason for bringing Dee along. Dee, so John Dee is not a character who's been utilized too often. In fact, I can only remember one other story that featured him. That was the X-Men the 198 miniseries that came out just after House of M. The parasite that he has, if given even just a piece of a person's body, a strand of hair, can make basically a voodoo doll of them. And so, taking a chunk of one of Brimstone's horns and giving it to well, they made he made such a thing, and so Fang gets a bit of revenge on Brimstone. So on Genosha, the mutant circuit forms with Fang arriving fashionably late, though still able to contribute his part. And it works. The Mysterium box is dropped in Protozoic era, and Threshold forms from it. And there, in the present on Krakoa, there's a huge celebration, and that wraps the series. So yes, this is the end for this current run on Marauders. It took a minute for me to. It took a minute for me to get in the groove of it. I much prefer Jerry Dugan's initial run. I think that was the best run of the book. I do hope that Marauders will be coming back. However, like I said, it does appear to be the last issue. As what's listed as next is Before the Fall, Mutant First Strike #1, which releases in June. So yeah, looks like we're gonna be waiting a minute. Surely, though, the Marauders will be popping up here and there. It was overall, this run of Marauders was good. Like I said, it took a minute to get for me to kind of. It took a minute for it to grow on me, basically, but it did. It was a good overall. Yes, it was a good run, and it was kind of as it went on, like okay, it had a slow start, but kind of seeing things that seem to be just kind of thrown in for whatever reason pay off was nice. Also, seeing characters from 2099 pop back up was very nice. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got X-Treme X-Men #4. Where we left off, the anti-mutant group Purity had unleashed another devastating weapon, which managed to depower all mutants in the city of Chicago. Just as Kitty Pryde was attempting to phase out of a rock, seemingly killing her. So, Storm dukes it out with one of the Galera, the Purity's powered enforcers, Soulscream, taking him on, showing that she's more than just her powers. But however, Beastie Brute shows up, now possessed by Ogun, and utilizes Logan as a sledgehammer, since the adamantium skeleton can do wonders for that. Rogue fights him, and she takes a hit to the gut, but Lockheed manages to scatter the villains, and Bishop and Sage have to, with the fact that the X-Treme X-Men are federal marshals. Well, they have to help the Chicago PD with other things that are going on. Turns out that Scrap, the device that's responsible for depowering all of Chicago's mutants, something has gone amiss with it, and so it's not working the way it should. And in fact, the storm that Storm had created previously is actually is still going and kind of going out of control a bit. There's some discussion about what to do next, including a nod to the recent Gambit miniseries. The fight with Ogun continues, and Soulscream is recovering from Lockheed kind of breaking things up and getting rather hideously burned by it. But we've learned that Kitty isn't dead. Basically, the strap didn't so much turn off. It kind of turned off mutant powers, but more just putting people back to their base, their original or their natural form. And Kitty's natural form is intangible. So yeah, she's not entirely happy. Though, even though her natural form is intangible, she's able to pull herself out of the rock that she's in. I don't know. But that is where the issue ends. This is honestly a hard book to for me to really get into because X-Treme X-Men, like the entire run, released at a point where I really wasn't regularly reading comics. So I'm aware of the run and kind of bullet points of what happened, but I never read it. So yeah. Moving on though to our last book for the moment, we've got Darth Vader number 32. Where we left off, well, Sabe has to decide whether or not to stay with the handmaidens or with Vader. Vader has also shown the remaining handmaidens that they can do a lot of good in his service. But the other handmaidens don't let Sabe make that decision, grab her and run out. They have an anti-grav disc so they can fly away, but Sabe removes hers. As the others return to their ship, Vader helps her land. And Ochi's not happy with the fact that the other handmaids weren't able to convince Sabe to leave with them, because now he still has to deal with her. But Sabe gets intel on what Yul Tambor's next move is, and turns out he intends to go after the city full of refugees. She levels, but she did all this while talking to the refugees who would have been there. So the refugees are saved, and Tambor, not dead. Well, he's been exposed, and yeah. While Sabi knows her sisters will miss her, she also knows that they can continue they can continue their lives, the lives they had since the end of the Clone Wars. And Vader, seemingly not too happy about the whole thing, and kind of lets loose a bit with the Force aboard the Executor. And that is where the issue ends. And that is going to that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Like a quick thing, the Vader, I'm honestly really digging it. It's solid stuff. It'll be interesting to see. The Darth Vader series clearly is not going to be around too much longer. There are the point that they're dealing with in the Star Wars comics, by and large, is between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So yeah, you get to the beginning, get to the point where Vader's sent to second Death Star. That's the end of the book, because from there we know what happens. But anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.